Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast for the recently deceased. Episode 2. Tonight we're going to be talking about Halloween. We're going to talk Halloween 1, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and we'll talk about a little bit about Halloween Ends, see what we think. So, let's start with the original. I mean, it's a classic. And classics are classics for a reason. We obviously get introduced to Michael Myers for the first time, as well as Jamie Lee Curtis, the veritable scream queen of, I don't know, the next decade.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
right?
Yep.
After Halloween, she did Halloween 2, she did Prom Night, she did Terror Train. She was the final girl, I think, 4 times right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis was pretty prolific in the horror genre at the beginning of her career. So Halloween 2018 is 3 years old now, as a direct sequel to the original Halloween, wiping out all of those, some good, some bad, some really bad.
Yeah.
After Halloween 2.
Yeah, the series had spun out of control so poorly. It just seemed like a good time to start anew, so to speak.
I totally agree. I kind of disagree with them wiping Halloween 2, but I understand rewriting a timeline where it goes straight from 1, he got caught, he's been in an institution for 40 years, and here's the rest of the story.
Sure, and I think what's critical about it, which comes to pass in, when we eventually get to Halloween Kills, is that they're omitting the fact that the connection of what he's doing in this night and now that he's back out is that it's attached to Laurie Strode and it's his sister, and he must kill his sister to have some sort of closure or resolution as a character. They bring that up in 2 and kind of just patchwork it in with little explanation from the nurse that's with Dr. Loomis, and it's just now this is canon for Michael Myers, and they use it through all the iterations that no longer exist in this new universe of Michael Myers. And so it's like you have to, in order to really drive the evil that is at the crux of the new versions of it.
Right.
So, which is, I think, great. It's a good decision, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah. First and foremost, before we start dissecting the movies, Halloween 2018 was just great, and Halloween Kills, I think, was even better for me, because it gave me pretty much exactly what I wanted. Halloween 2018, objectively, probably a better movie. Halloween Kills, way more fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
But an excellent start, well, near finish, I guess, since there's this should be wrapping up with Halloween Ends. It's almost a shame that it's going to be over so quickly in this new trilogy by David Gordon Green.
Yeah, it's like it came back to the surface, and they're doing it so well. It would be great if they could continue.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense to finish it in 3 of them, in 3 new films, but we're probably going to want more, because this version of Michael Myers is just amazing.
Right. Or let's see what David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, who many people don't know was a writer on Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. Let's see what these guys can cook up in the genre. Like, if you're going to finish Halloween in a trilogy, what's on the docket for David Gordon Green in the future in horror? Because
there's not a lot with horror specifically for him, right? I
don't
remember. There's
right.
Not a lot.
No. In his career, I mean, I think he did have like one other, but he definitely didn't. Oh, right. He actually already has 2 in the works. He is the EP on the Exorcist remake.
Okay.
But how much work does a producer do? We never
right.
know. And he has the Hellraiser TV series coming, which I know he's pretty prolific in TV. He did Eastbound and Down. He did Tarantula, and he's currently on The Righteous Gemstones, also with Danny McBride.
Right. But mostly dramatic type roles and stories, not necessarily horror base. And so to take something as iconic as Michael Myers and the Halloween property to then reinvent and breathe new life into it, they blew it out of the park with 18. And Kills, I think, just accentuates how great they are at taking the character and making it even more menacing than it was in the original.
I totally agree. Also, with this being a trilogy with Halloween Ends, and we talk about like flow and things like that, right? Halloween 2018 was very much like a Halloween movie, and I think that was purposeful, right? Hey, we're back.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're sequeling Halloween 1978, but we're back. Halloween 2018. Halloween Kills felt a little bit more fan servicey. We had all the children, or not child actors, but young actors from 1978, now older actors,
Yep.
playing people who still live in that town. And that was great to see all of them, participate with Michael in one way or another. Some of them killed, some of them not. Also, the kills in Halloween Kills were phenomenal. Michael Myers was never popular for his creative kills. Strangle, stab.
Yep.
And Halloween 2018, mostly strangle, stab.
Yep.
Halloween Kills, great stuff.
Yeah, next level.
Yeah, next level. Like.
And I mean, so that's
creative.
what's so cool about it is that they had to, they painted themselves in a corner with the end of Halloween 2018. He's in the basement of Laurie Strode's house, has no way of out. It's on fire. How is he not going to die? And they work out a great solution. And so he's up against the wall, and so something crazy has to happen. And the way that he dispatches a whole crew of firefighters just was awesome. But so the creativity, though, it's that next scene in the first couple that he encounters where he's truly in his form. He's Michael Myers, and he's evil. He's just going to kill people. They bring those two characters, which are lovely and like cool couple, old white guy, old black chick, and they're happy just living life. Laurie Strode's place on fire. Just talking, normal night. I don't know what they're watching. I wish I remember what they were watching, but it reminds me of like when they're watching, the movies in the original Halloween. Like it was a throwback. But they see him so quickly, and then it takes seconds before he completely gets rid of them. Yeah. They're not on screen long, and he does it so brutally.
Oh, yeah.
The kills, yeah, and it's so graphic.
Oh, yeah. Going back to the fireman fight, where I think he killed 11 firefighters, they say it later in the film, it sets the tone for the movie.
Yeah.
Right in the beginning of the movie. You've got Laurie leaving in a pickup truck, injured. They're driving her to the hospital. The fire truck drives by. No, don't let it burn. No. And they let him out. He's standing there, flames behind him, and action movie style.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about this last week with Malignant, the gun fu sequence. He goes to town on these firemen.
It's almost over the top. It almost gets out of control for me.
Yeah, right.
Because he's swinging it like a sword almost.
It's John Wick. It's John Wick. He has one weapon, and it was that
the fireman's axe type pickaxe thing that they use to break down doors.
He's got that, and he takes them all down.
Yeah, and they're trying to hose him, and I'm thinking Rambo. Stallone is up against that wall. This has got to have some kind of pressure like that. He should be getting blown away. I'm thinking something interesting will happen there. Nope. He takes it. He's just walking forward.
Right through it,
pickaxe straight through his head.
And the moral of the story, which we'll talk about again later, is you just can't stop evil.
Yeah.
And he is unstoppable. The dude's 6'5", 6'3", 6'3".
And at this point, they're following the actual time frame that we live in. 78 happened, Halloween. 40 years later, 2018 comes out, and now this is the same night. Yes, it's 2021. There's 3 years of time, but it's the same night. He's an old dude. Because he was 20, I think, 20-something, early 20s in Halloween, and so now he's 50 or 60.
You call him 60. You call him 60 years old.
And you can see that, the white hairs.
Yeah, he's got white hair, but he spent 40 years in a prison yard, which you see the prison in 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in fine shape. You know, he's got a little
Yeah,
a little
just
overweight, but like a little bit of a pot belly there. But like he's just a big old dude.
She's just brooding and just waiting, just
He-
or just like unthinkable, just
yeah, just
entity.
madness, completely insane, right? Or
And he's triggering all of those other inmates in 18. Like, you know, like they all know there's an energy out there, but no one can understand it. And I think it's the evil, the presence of the shape.
the shape or the boogeyman.
Yes.
If you will.
So it sets the tone with the firefighters.
Sets the tone with the firefighters, and here we are. You know what comes next, right? Just like you said, the brutality of the first kill of the couple there.
Yeah.
And you know we get a little disappointing, I think, with Laurie being in a hospital bed for I think the entire film.
Yeah, which
was a little bit of letdown, but like, what are you gonna do?
right.
So you've got the daughter and the granddaughter running around, but then you get this awesome B plot of the vigilante justice.
Yes.
Of the ragtag crew of survivors.
Yeah.
From 1978, right?
They've lived with this for the 40 years now.
Yeah. Some of them were kids, some of them were teens. So one was a babysitter, right? One was the kid being babysat by Laurie originally, right? Who there we get a touching moment between the two of them when he thanks her again for saving his life.
Yeah, Tommy Doyle.
Ago. Yeah, Tommy
played by
Doyle,
Anthony Michael Hall.
Anthony Michael Hall. Great performance. Always love to see Anthony Michael Hall do anything.
Yeah.
Since what was his last big thing? Probably that Stephen King show.
The Stand was he?
No. He was in. It was like the dark.
No, you pull it up. So the some of our main characters are sidelined at the hospital, which is cool. You get to see all the references back to Halloween 2 without talking about Halloween 2. They have the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, the HMH, all the overalls and coveralls that you see the paramedics and other orderlies wearing have that symbol, and it's just like it's cool reference because again, Halloween 2 original 81 doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Never happened in this version. It's the only way you can really approach this. You just let all that stuff go.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all at the hospital. So this Tommy Doyle and Lonnie and the gang are driving the other part of the story as the mob entity that wants to finally rid themselves of the evil. Tonight, evil dies.
Right? And what do we learn? You just can't.
No, yeah.
You can't kill evil. With an excellent Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode voiceover.
Yeah.
As she explains what Michael Myers is, as he took 4 bullets to the chest and drops in the middle of this mob.
Yep.
And then as she's describing from the hospital, of course, she's not there, describing what Michael Myers is, pure evil. When she gets to that line, that pure evil line, you can't kill evil, he just gets up and just starts to kill the mob.
Yeah.
And once, kind of like the fireman scene, it's just over the top
and just unstoppable.
And you can't stop Michael Myers, and it's just like an excellent like way to end the film. Where do you go from there? That's a tough one.
Yeah. So for me, like I'm a little bit the idea of the mob being as prevalent as it was. Like I was trying to think, is this like what people normally go through with like stages of acceptance in a sense, like with dealing with the evil, you know? Because like the way that they all react is like, okay, we can actually defeat it. In 2018, Halloween 2018, they think like, okay, well we'll lure him and then we can just dispatch him and we'll get rid of him. And then in 2018, it's like they're taking more ownership and they are aware like we need to work together. It's like people at the beginning of 2018, people were wanting still to understand.
Right.
The psychiatrists, the journalists, they wanted to still make sense of something that you can't make sense of.
Right.
Sam Loomis figured it out 40 years ago. He is evil.
Yeah.
He's not a man. He's evil.
Right.
And he didn't convince many people. They thought he was kind of crazy.
Right. Well, we have the new Doctor.
Right.
Now the new Doctor who you might think is unassuming, and he's just the psychiatrist character, but no, he played a role. He probably is the one who set Michael free, even though we never see it. Right.
Right. It's just it never happens.
Everyone was chained up.
Yeah, everyone's chained up.
The
yeah.
bus crashes.
He's
everybody
fine.
gets out. He's fine. Why is he fine? We don't know. Oh, okay, he just stabbed a dude in the ear. Okay, he's a bad guy now, so he's on the side of Michael Myers. So we never actually get to see, but there's no way I think Michael facilitates that escape without the help from this doctor.
Yeah.
We just don't get to see it on screen, right?
Right. Yeah, so he sets that ball rolling to see what can occur, because he wasn't there firsthand. He didn't spend, 15 plus years, Loomis did, watching a boy from 6 grow to a 20-year-old and just be the way he was. He still couldn't make sense of it. He just knows of him as murdering, and then so he's still trying to figure it out and understand it, and he still thinks there's a rational, or there's a way to make sense of it, something he can understand.
Well, and then he moves on to even facilitate Michael completing his masterpiece, so to speak, in that he drives Michael to Laurie Strode's home.
Right. So maybe complete plot device.
Right.
Even still, good to see. Still enjoyable to watch what happened. Like, it's a small thing. Like, you could see it as a contrived type way to be like, there's no sense as to why he would be there. Right. How do we get him there? This is how we do it.
Right. There, two ways to look at it. First way, Michael Myers doesn't just kill indiscriminately and will track Laurie because he has unfinished business. So if this is the case, he'll get there on his own. Right. Number 2, no, he's a madman who just murders. He doesn't even know who Laurie Strode is. He probably doesn't even recognize her. He's just killing people that come into contact with him. So he needs to be brought to her. Yeah. By someone else, someone with rational thought, who thinks there's more meaning than there is.
And he wants to just he's a scientist doing an experiment. He wants to see, will this cause a reaction? Yeah. Will bringing him next to her do something? Yeah. He doesn't know. He's willing to risk his life
because it got him killed. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
instantly,
as soon as Michael Myers saw him, he killed him.
Just stomped him out.
Not because he was his therapist for 40 years or 20 years or however long he was, according to the 2018 storyline, but because he was human and alive and in his life, just standing in front of him.
And it happens. So then, what happens more so in Kills, and you see a little bit in 2018 is you see the side of the care of Michael where he's Play4 sets up these little vignettes of his victims in some kind of way. In the original, he stages them in certain ways, like where they're dangling from a pantry. One of the teens is in the original, and so like it's subtle. It's not as over the top. They really kind of hype it a little bit in 18, but more so in Kills. Like in 18, the police officers that show up, his head is like the flashlights in it, like a jack-o'-lantern. Yep. Which we see again in Kills.
Yeah. And that was all great. Yeah. Especially that couple, because he did some work on them too. The first couple in Kills. I forgot what he did. He was stabbing something into the husband. Yes, yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah, you see, like a pinata. He was just taking knife from the magnetic knife block on the wall, and but it's blurred. You don't see it detailed because the wife is in the foreground. Yeah, but you just see him, and you hear just the thunk, thunk, and like the shink of the knife. But like with her, the other sidebar with just the death, like the fluorescent tube. Throat, and hearing the gurgling, filling that tube up. That fluorescent tube kill was awesome. Yeah.
So like, but you get to see him doing that, and all through Kills, like he sets up the nurse and doctor from the mob on the merry-go-round in the playground. Yeah. It's his calling card.
it's great to see too, because it is a horror trope. Yeah, and it's not just a Halloween trope. Voorhees does it. Yep. In a Friday, you see him stab. Cutaway. When they go into the room, the person's hanging from the ceiling with their guts wide open, and there's intestines all over the ground.
He did a lot of work.
Yeah. Set up. Did a lot of post-kill work to terrify the person that found the body, or the people that found the body.
Right.
So yeah, so whatever Michael Myers' reasons, I agree that maybe because he's a deranged 6-year-old essentially in a
Right.
60-year-old man's body, it's more playful.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, just like experimenting with stuff and just having fun. What happens when I
What
do
happens
this?
when I do this? Exactly, because I would have set a 6-year-old's mind, right?
Right.
Also in Kills, okay, so what I was saying, how for me Kills was more fun.
Yes.
We can talk briefly about David Gordon Green as the director, but as David Gordon Green and Danny McBride as collaborators writing the films.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Danny McBride's got a huge comedy background.
Yeah.
And as horror fans, sometimes those awesome, gruesome kills are just laugh out loud funny.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think a horror movie is good. Not necessarily good. Good's the wrong word. Because, the atmospheric horror obviously is never going to have something like this. But if I don't laugh out loud from a kill or two during a movie, they probably failed me. Unless it's a more atmospheric horror. If it's something like a slasher, or a monster, creature
Right.
feature, those are the kind of movies where I expect to be wowed by at least a kill or two.
Yeah, it's got to be something creative that you haven't seen before. This has been done a million times on end, and so there was a lot of surprises. You want to have that feeling where you're like, oh man, that was odd. You're enjoying it. You're relishing the moment.
Yeah.
For me, the first, aside from that first couple, which I thought was super graphic and fun, the first part of the mob that encounters him once they've all agreed. Tommy Doyle, Anthony Michael, he said they're all going out and finding people. It's with the girl and the original nurse from Halloween that encountered Michael Myers the first time. They're in the car with the people in costumes, the nurse and the doctor costumes.
Yeah.
And that whole scene where he's on the roof of the car and doing everything was great, but the one that was the most cool and exciting was the nurse where she's outside, she's shooting and she can't hit shit.
Yeah.
She's missing every shot, and she gets close and he kicks the door and she
Shoots
shoots stuff right in the head. It was just surprising. Didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely.
And you're laughing you're awful. And you're not anywhere close, and then he just get the fuck out of here.
Oh yeah. I mean, and Michael Myers is killing her husband, and she is just gone. She's just didn't even look back.
Yeah.
I mean, she had a gun, so she did come back, but
right. Yeah, she didn't know or see what was happening, but yeah, and it was
that was definitely good. Okay.
One cool thing that I thought happened right after the scene when I can't remember the girl that character played by Kyle Richards, who was the original girl in the '78 Halloween.
Right.
She's running and she's hiding near the water in the bridge. There was a moment where I was like, "There's Fellowship of the Ring."
Yeah. There was.
She's under the tree.
Hobbit and Nazgul.
Yeah.
It was.
And I was like, "Oh yeah," because those things were dead and evil. There's.
Yeah.
I liked the subtle
whether
reference
they did
to it.
whether they did it on purpose or not.
Yeah, I saw it.
I saw it.
I thought because you're seeing her, she's cowered up and her eyes are just moving, and he's just breathing, just like the horse, and it's just
And he went away.
Yeah,
and she survived or survived that scene.
Yes. So the other part we just kind of digressed, but we were talking about the two of them writing and the comedy is what happened with the kills. You want to be able to laugh. You want to have those moments. The other thing that I think is there with the two of them possibly is the setting. It's not fan service, but it was very Halloween-y. All of the costumes and the sets and the characters, it was Halloween night, which is a lot of the appeal of the franchise in general. It's happening on Halloween. It's a full moon. Everyone's in costumes and everyone's wearing cool costumes. These aren't costumes that, most people don't wear real costumes anymore. And so to see a film where people are both decorating for Halloween, which doesn't happen in every neighborhood in America. Maybe it always happens in Illinois. Who knows? Right. I don't. But it's awesome to see because it's just the scenery. It's the background. It's fun to look at Halloween shit when a cool spooky Halloween thing is happening. And so that and the characters' costumes, I thought it's just it's the background. It's just an additional layer of something to enjoy while you're watching it, because it's fun. For me, I really enjoy that, because like even in the end, whenever they're getting him, he's like Judy Greer's character, the daughter, Jamie Lee's daughter. She's getting him to follow her, and he's like coming out into a scene. And there's a bunch of skeletons and lights and everything, and it was just like, yeah, this is a fun setting to have these things take place.
Right.
It's part of why I love horror and why I love Halloween, is because of movies that embrace it.
Sure.
And this one definitely did.
One thing I really enjoyed, we touched on the mob and the collection of characters from old Halloween movies, was how they started in the film. As, oh, it's Halloween. Yeah, so every Halloween for them is the anniversary of this horrible event.
Yeah.
And what do? They go to this local pub, which happens to be an open mic night, and they tell their stories.
Yeah.
And they drink together, and this is how they have coped and dealt with this for, they probably haven't done it for 40 years, but in their adult lives. So we can say maybe they've been doing this for 20 years at the time they get, kind of like, not rudely interrupted, but they were being loud and kind of rude when the doctor and his wife were like,
nurse, yeah.
Or the nurse.
Because you've been in a bar, you've had people like that, and like you're trying to have a good time, and they're being assholes about whatever. You're just like, shh.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, these people have been through something.
Yeah.
They didn't mean to.
This is their hometown. This is their home bar.
Right.
It's
kind of like a check yourself type moment where you like, it's just a little thing, but it was a neat touch to those characters.
Right. Well, yeah. Also, even the husband. I'll start saying husband because he's in a doctor costume, but he was actually a nurse.
He's the nurse.
And
she's
the doctor in the nurse's costume. Don't want to mix that up.
Yeah.
So the husband, apologizes afterwards.
Right.
He didn't know. He didn't know. And your story was so touching. And
the bartender was great.
Oh, the bartender was fantastic. Yeah. There was. I mean,
he had that old guy voice that just spoke a certain way that he didn't feel like an actor at all. Like I was like, this is an actual bartender that talks to people all the time. Like it was awesome.
Explanation. Or we have confirmation, I should say. No real explanation.
Yeah.
Besides that, he's pure evil.
Right.
Confirmation that he is a supernatural force.
Yeah.
Of some kind.
Yeah. And that's just what makes it terrifying, because and that's and part of it's like, why would you face off solo? When Laurie's granddaughter is like, she's in Lonnie's kid, and her go into the house. Like, what are you doing? You're going to his home.
Right.
Unreal. And like, she's still trying to fight him on her own. She doesn't know that she's going to get saved by her mother, but
right.
But like, yeah, for people to still think that they might be able to do something, it's like, no.
Well, what about it? I mean, and then the ending, right? Like, Judy Greer kills Michael and leaves the mob before he can come back.
Yes. Yeah, everything is resolving.
She goes straight to the old home, stands right in the window where the window.
What he would look at, the window.
That was the window where he would just look. And it was posited earlier in the film, was he looking out the window, or was he just looking at himself?
Yeah, looking within, yeah.
And then she gets killed by Michael Myers. And then Michael Myers stares at the window.
Yeah.
And he's obviously just looking at himself.
Yeah.
And we get that question answered, and it's really another great moment in the film where we get to see more Michael Myers, we get more questions answered, we get more story, right? And visually, we don't need dialogue to tell us what's going on. Like, this is some pretty obvious stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we've got Laurie Strode in the hospital. We've got the granddaughter somewhere.
Right.
And
downstairs at the moment, possibly going to be next.
Her father is dead, and her mother is dead, Laurie's daughter.
Yeah.
So where does Halloween end?
Right.
We have to. Laurie Strode has to die, right? So Laurie Strode and Michael Myers it feels like a simul kill kind of situation,
Yeah.
or a
Well, and she says as much too.
yeah,
Like if he dies and I can die too, or like I'm gonna die with him.
yeah.
Something like that.
Or she does finish him and then she dies from her wounds.
Right.
So I feel like we definitely see that. It's kind of obviously set up like that for me to have the granddaughter be the sole survivor of the family line.
Yeah.
At the end of the next film.
Yeah.
To be the only Strode left, if there is someone else who's going to pick up the franchise and start making sequels to death like they did did in the original timeline.
They can't lock him away again for 40 years.
Right.
You know, there's got to be a finality to this night.
Right.
And the next Halloween Ends must address that. My concern with that is that she's laid up in hospital, and the other character that we didn't talk a ton about because he wasn't in it a ton as current events was Officer Hawkins.
Hawkins, who was in 2018 and
we
doing a lot of stuff,
dead,
but we got stabbed in the ear.
Yeah. It seemed like he's out now. You figure he's just dead because that's just how things would go.
Yeah.
But he's not. And then we have a really great flashbacking kills to what happened that night.
That flashbacking sequence was fantastic.
Yeah, it just
chills
chills about it.
They were great.
Yeah, where how he has a reason now because he could have had him killed, but he stopped Loomis.
Right.
From doing it.
He stopped Loomis.
So he has all the guilt about everything about it.
He stopped Loomis, and he accidentally killed a fellow coworker.
Right. Yeah. During it. So it's gonna be Laurie. He's gonna be there too because he's got just as much skin in the game in just a different way. His trauma is different.
He'll probably die first. He'll die.
Right.
He'll die somewhere in the fight of the final showdown.
But like that's what's I'm concerned about how they're gonna do it because they're both incapacitated
and old.
Yeah, and like if it's gonna happen tonight, well, how?
Right. So that brings up a whole other question. They have introduced the supernatural element. Mm-hmm. So now, how do you even go without another supernatural element?
Sure.
On the side of good.
Right.
Right. Is it a Bible? Is it a priest? Is it the love of a woman? I know it sounds ridiculous, but we're talking about Trinity crying on Neo and bringing him back to life. Love conquers all, and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Being able to kill Michael Myers.
It's fair. It doesn't have a place in it as to date, and I don't know how that could work.
Right.
I want to see something. I want to be surprised, and something has to happen. He can't just go on. There's got to be a finality.
Right. They call it Halloween Ends for a reason. They're not going to make him survive it. Right. It's a year pretty much from last week is when the movie comes out, October 14th, 2022.
Yeah, that's already kind of scheduled in.
It's already on the docket.
Wow.
Which exciting. Is my 40th birthday. Halloween ends on my 40th birthday.
That's exciting.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
About that. So
I don't know how they could what they could utilize. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
It's for them to figure out. I can't.
Oh, it's yeah. I mean, I can speculate on the human side of things. I don't think I can speculate on the supernatural side of things. They could literally go anywhere and do anything. And in my opinion, I don't think that any of those supernatural choices are good.
Right, and the only thing I could think that would make sense would be to behead him in some kind of way. But how do you do that? And it doesn't seem like that would be a satisfying conclusion to the character.
Right, if you behead him or fully dismember him, and then you have to put all the pieces in different boxes, and bury him at the corners of the earth, is the only way Michael Myers won't come back. Right?
They're painted in a bit of a corner. It's going to be really cool to see how they resolve it.
Right. And then they can always sequel it with the treasure hunter who collects all 6 pieces and puts it back together, lets it regenerate, and that's how Halloween starts again 5 years from now when they want to reboot the franchise.
I feel like they did something like that in Friday the 13th.
They definitely did that in Friday. They put them back together at least one time.
So one side note of one thing that I thought was just hilarious and absurd that they did, I was like, this isn't real. It had a Prometheus moment for me.
Okay.
Where Noomi Rapace has an alien life form extracted from her belly, and it is then lasered, stitched up,
Yeah.
and she's then running full speed and jumping onto things and stuff.
Sure.
Jamie Lee Curtis
Yeah.
has her complete abdominal wall cavity opened up and it's stitched. She takes some painkillers and she's like, she needs someone in the balls. Like she does feel it.
Yeah.
And but still, like just yelling, what she was yelling,
Yeah.
it's not him, or get him, Tommy, go get him. Like you would not be able to scream.
Yeah.
It's like there's like, so for me, it's like kind of like an absurd moment
Yeah.
where she really shouldn't be doing what she's doing, but she's got to do something.
Yeah.
It's it's a movie. I get it. It's just
Well, I mean that's a good point because Kills was turned up.
yeah.
Right? Like Halloween 2018 was more subdued. It felt like a Halloween movie. Halloween Kills didn't feel like a Halloween movie. Halloween Kills felt like it was a bit of fan service, and there was a lot more action, and there were more comic beats, and the pacing was faster. All things that I did like.
Yeah. No, yeah, I still had fun.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me. I'm just, when I think about it, like, that's a bit silly,
Yeah.
but whatever.
But whatever.
I'm having fun this whole time, so that's fine.
Dude, I read this one review that likened Halloween Kills to The Last Jedi. It's like, now I know what The Last Jedi people hated, how they felt, and I'm like, first of all, like, you know, yeah, I love horror, but I'm also a Star Wars fanboy. No, you don't. No, you don't know what it was like to hate The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Second, Halloween Kills was good.
Yeah.
What is your?
It was a very good movie. Yeah.
Like not only was it good, it made me excited for Halloween Ends because of the turn, because of the reveal of the supernatural. That means Halloween 3 is going to be, or the new Halloween 3 is going to be something new, something different that we've never seen before. That they haven't come at Michael Myers as a supernatural entity; they've come at him as a man.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have an opportunity with this third movie, which, you know, these two guys, David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, have already proven twice in a row.
Yeah.
They can do this. So, let's see what they got.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be it'll be a long year waiting for it, but it was great. We can savor this for a while. It was just a lot of fun. We'll watch it again, I'm sure. I don't know, to have everything just wiped clean for it to exist for so long and then to kind of be reinvented. You know, because we like what? So last week we talked as far as our TV series, things coming back that are older. This one, you're taking a property and you're recreating it, and they're doing it the right way. It doesn't,
right?
You know,
right. Last week we brought up because we're doing I Know What You Did Last Summer and This Week in Horror, the show. So last week we brought up how they kind of just copied the premise from the original film and just twisted the characters up.
Yeah.
How in Halloween 2018, they're re-sequeling and wiping out an old timeline, creating a new one. But man, did they do it completely in the right way.
Right.
It makes total sense that Michael Myers would be arrested at the end of Halloween and that he would be in a mental institution for 40 years.
Yeah.
It makes sense that his bus would get crashed. If the crazy doctor who wanted to see what would happen if him and Laurie Strode got together facilitated Michael's escape.
Yep.
Yes, it happened off screen. We're just speculating, but we truly believe that there's no way it could have happened.
Of course.
Without its help. Him stabbing Hawkins is what seals it, right?
Right. Yeah, it all makes sense. And they're taking the story and they're making it better, and they're gonna hopefully give a definitive conclusion to the story. And I think that's perfect. That's just what they need.
Okay. So this week in horror, we have episode 4 of I Know What You Did Last Summer, entitled Hot Shrimp Salad.
What's the name of that character, that just bitch of a lady that just is shitting in everyone's day?
It's like Carol, I think, or something like that. And
she's the worst.
She's the comic relief, though.
Yeah,
right.
But you hate her.
Oh, you definitely hate her.
Yeah,
you definitely hate her. But every time she shows up, she's just a dick.
Yeah.
Like hey, Carol, can you take the rest of the day off? Full pay, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Full pay.
Yep.
Um,
So yeah, hot shrimp salad, which they're just weird little comments of funny moments during the episodes. Like
right.
I don't remember the first two episodes and where they were referenced at all during the text or whatever, but the last two were.
The last two are 3 and 4.
The Gorilla Head and this one
Yeah.
were lines from it, dialogue, and I don't remember the first two being in. So it's just a neat little nod, a cool little, just a fun little thing. It's like naming an artwork untitled, more or less to me. It's
right.
It's just there.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't have a meaning.
I think it's neat. I've always seen titles of episodes for TV. I've never given it much thought.
Yeah.
I actually have just started paying attention. I think it's a cool little...
If anything, it might be intentionally done that way just to make fun of people that try to put too much meaning in their title.
Yeah.
Like tongue-in-cheek, like, don't be so... You're not that interesting. Like, you don't have to... Like, you think about the titles to Breaking Bad and that whole universe. Like, they were very intentional and had all kinds of deeper hidden meanings.
Sure.
And I feel like this is like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Just have fun.
Well, like the first episode of Chucky called Death by Misadventure.
Right.
And the police, the cop who is there investigating the death.
What happened here? Well...
It looks like Death by Misadventure. Okay, we get it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun.
Moving on.
So,
all right. So
episode 4.
Yeah.
It's still riding the coattails of episode 2 for me. There were some good things, but it's not pushing it further because they're still doing the same thing that we discussed last week.
Yes, I totally agree. So episode 1, was pretty bad. You get a lot of setup, so that's fine, especially early on in the series.
Yeah. Episode
2, some good character development, some good advancement, some good plot advancement, I should say.
Yeah.
A couple good kills. Episode 3, pretty boring, bland. Felt a lot like episode 1.
Yeah, the cool stuff that could happen happened off screen.
Yep.
We didn't really see it. We just heard about it.
And then episode 4 was all boring character development.
Yeah.
About characters who we already know.
I know.
We already know. We get it.
Yeah.
We get it. Not Luna. Lennon was a whore. Allison's a bitch. We get it.
Yeah.
Like, we find out she has an OnlyFans account, that she's banging everybody, that she's got some money somewhere.
Right.
We're nowhere closer to finding out who it is. They haven't dropped more clues.
And they get rid of the red herring that is Allison.
They kill the red herring that's Allison because we find the body. I think the red herring that it was...
Lennon, rather.
Lennon, right.
Yeah.
The red herring that it was the weird hippie lady, I think was dead because she gives the necklace back to the father.
Right.
So if that was anything, why would she incriminate herself?
So
right now we have no suspects.
To me, the new suspect that they just introduced was because of the hippie chick that's from the cave cult. Because the interaction with the father was meaningful.
Sure.
In that he has a history with her, which we didn't know.
Okay.
So there's a history there. And they talk about his wife. And she was referencing that he's got something owed to her too because she took care of him in some kind of way. And to me, it insinuates something similar to what happened with Allison and Lennon. Happened with the father and the mother.
Okay.
That she covered up or knew something that he doesn't want anyone knowing and no one else knows about it. Okay. Which leads me to believe... Is the mother somehow secretly involved and is actually alive? And I said that as high pitched as I could. Clearly,
sure.
Because it seems so preposterous.
It's quite a stretch.
And and that's what's frustrating. The show leads you to have harebrained, flippant ideas about what they're doing.
I agree that for a whole episode, I thought Lennon could actually be alive.
Yeah.
And then when they showed the body, it was like, oh,
yeah,
duh.
okay, not done.
Like obviously, duh. Like, why did I even waste it whole?
Yeah, like I knew it, but they led me there, and it's like it's not as rewarding. That can be rewarding in some shows where you think one thing and they subvert your expectations, but they're not building it in that way where you feel that kind of emotion.
Right.
You just feel stupid, or it's like, okay, whatever. Well, so then what? What am I supposed to think?
Sure.
So that's what I'm thinking now with just because of that interaction, because there's something weird there with the way that they talked about the mother and the circumstances of her.
So the hippie chick who drives the black pickup,
which is probably meaningless.
Yeah. is the only still remaining suspect. I feel like maybe the heat's gone on her a little bit, but yeah, it was just a bad episode too. I think it was the worst episode so far. Actually, yeah, I mean episode one just it was so much setup, but like so you can't fault episode one, right?
And then there's the kills that are in this one.
Right.
The comic relief cop, the deputy or whatever, Doug, who had the gorilla head comment, which was funny last time, and he's being real weirdo cop guy in this one, which was fun. He's dead.
Yep.
His throat is slashed, and the poor cook dude from their restaurant at the hotel or whatever they're doing.
Right.
He dies with what looks like a gunshot to the head.
Yeah, the older Hawaiian guy.
Why?
Who was also funny.
Yeah, but why?
Right.
They had nothing to do with anything.
Right, exactly.
Seemingly.
So if you go back to the films, only the people involved with the wrongful death were punished.
Yes. And so now you've got the coach that was with the one guy.
Coach that was
it's like,
with
okay,
Johnny.
they were together, and this person had to take them both out.
Okay. So maybe, yeah. So
maybe
that's why
you'll give that one.
But we definitely know Johnny died. All right, then you've got Dale, who okay, he was on the road that night.
Yeah.
The killer might not know if he saw anything, so we can justify Dale. But no, we cannot justify this cop.
I don't get it.
Okay, wait. I did remember thinking we could justify the cop. The cop.
Because the cop.
He almost
Bitcoin.
He revealed the evidence. He revealed the evidence.
This is about Bitcoin.
Like, he says out loud.
How stupid would the show be if somehow Bitcoins are actually involved?
He figured it out. Like he could have figured it out right there.
Yeah.
You know, follow the money, right? Follow the money.
Because he's like the dumb procedural guy that somehow it just I just solved this and I clicked.
So that's why he died.
Yeah, sure.
Now it's definitely no reason for the cook to have died.
Yeah, just
random.
Death by misadventure.
Death by misadventure. He was though.
Pooping while the cop was having to walk by, and he was just stuck there like when the person was like, "Oh, I gotta kill this guy now too."
Well, yeah. When the wrap up finally comes, hopefully episode 8. I don't want it to go to episode 10. When the wrap up finally comes and they explain his death, I'm gonna be watching. I'm very interested.
I'm glad you brought that up as far as what potentially could have happened, but it's still a bit absurd. And like in the episode was actually a little bit somber or sad with like the funeral, because you can imagine like you're having a real funeral,
right?
And you can, I guess it's just culturally this is what they do, and you know, sort of like a Viking funeral.
Oh, the Viking funeral, yeah.
And it's like, I mean, that must be hard, especially for her. You know, like we said last week, she cannot have Dylan. And Dylan is there, and he's remembering her, and he hates her. It's her, but she's living with it, and like so, like it's the same note, but they're really driving her home because now it's at the funeral, and you're seeing the body, and it's like it's got to be, you know, like I like, you know, they're building a lot of her pain and Dylan's pain as like real characters. The other ones, it's a little bit there, but it's not as strong, and so I feel like they're building to make their eventual deaths more impactful in some kind of way, and that's fair, but they got to get there. More things have to be happening to make me care more about how it's all turning out, because it's not building, it's kind of like scattershot right now. It's not giving me the feelings and tone to kind of like to build to something. It's just kind of all over the place.
Well, we're presumably halfway through.
Yeah.
We have Margot, Dylan, Rai, and actual Alice on the left, and we can assume that the showdown will be between Allison and the killer, with all the other friends dead. Yeah. Assuming it follows the formula, I know what she did last summer. So the other friends will have to die. And I mean, we've got enough time for each of them to die in one episode before we get to the finale. So I don't know what my point was, but I think I wanted to just say that I anticipate
that's how it should be.
I anticipate that's how we should see it. Assume there's 4 more episodes. We're gonna lose a friend in the next 3, and there'll be the showdown in the 4th. We'll probably get the reveal of the killer at the end of the 7th episode, not during the 8th episode, right?
Yeah.
That'll be the cliffhang reveal, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, but there's also the thing that they could like just drag out weird interactions and then take them all out in the last episode, and it's so unsatisfying.
Exactly. If they do that, I don't know.
You know,
I don't know.
so
it's just like bad writing, bad bad pacing.
There's only so many people they can take out. These other ones had some role. There's not that many other characters aside
Right.
from.
Well, you get to take out the father because he's complicit.
Right.
Which will be.
I do like the father as a character.
Yeah.
He seems pretty legit and good. I like his character.
I definitely like his character. I like the cop that he's banging too.
Yeah.
I like
Lyle, I think is her character's name.
So maybe I don't think she has any reason to die, but who knows?
Right.
Because the show, they killed that cook for unless the cook saw something, we won't know until the reveal comes. Right. But I don't know. Didn't seem to make much sense to me.
So you got me on the hook. I'm gonna.
We're gonna finish it. We're definitely gonna finish it.
And so hopefully there's a good conclusion. If
All
not,
right. Day of the Dead, episode 1.
Yes.
The Thing in the Hole.
Yep, that's what it was. It was the thing in the hole.
The Thing in the Hole. All right. Let's start by saying that this is. I'm going to use the word loosely based on Romero's of the Dead universe.
Yes.
Because no one involved seems to be involved with any of the films, and somebody obviously just got the rights, and they're kind of doing whatever they want. Mm-hmm. So if I remember correctly, it was space dust that caused the corpses to rise as zombies. So that's why people didn't just turn into zombies. It started from the graveyards.
Right.
And we do see that right in the first episode.
Yes.
We don't see the space dust.
Right, but we see the
cemetery.
The dead coming out of the
we've got
graves.
one of the main characters mowing the cemetery as a side job.
Right.
And we see all the corpses from there. So what else do we have?
I mean, they're rationalizing the political intrigue. Like, there's politics involved and geo.
So another main character's parents.
Yeah.
The mother's running for mayor.
Yes.
She's already the mayor. This is her second term.
Yep.
The husband is having an
Election
affair with her campaign manager.
Aide.
Yeah.
And they're so just cheesy, this is hilarious type thing, like not real people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're caricatures. Definitely caricatures.
Yeah.
She's got her gun on her belt.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Where's your gun?"
Yeah, we represent open carry. It's on the ballot. You need to show it.
Yeah. Then we've got creepy mortician guy and his new intern, Laszlo. Yeah. And his intern who is on parole.
Yep.
And is an attractive young lady, as Laszlo, will try to take advantage of.
Yeah, and he has a camera in the bathroom,
in the changing room,
and he's watching her.
Yeah, and he, blackmailing her with the parole officer to go on a date with him right away.
Just so all of the obvious things that you could do, overdone things, done really poorly.
Yeah, if you're just a sleazeball.
Yeah,
he's just a sleazeball character. Then we've got two kids that are like bullies. They bully the other kid who's the lawnmower kid.
Yeah.
Then we've got the some sort of non-white female who just got a job on a construction site.
Yeah. Who's new into fracking.
Yeah, fracking. Getting bullied by her.
And then punched in the face.
Oh yeah, punched in the face. Yeah. by her foreman who threatens her job.
Yeah. Tries to cover up a body that they just discovered.
And so she sneaks, and that's the thing in the hole, is the body in the hole.
Yeah. She
sneaks a detective of some kind into the hole because she
was told to go investigate because she called it in before she could talk to the foreman.
Yeah, but she she throws the rope down to hide it.
Like, good luck, bye.
And then the foreman knocks her out with one punch. So the guy's stuck down there.
Yeah, he's stuck now.
He's stuck down there. So that's a lot of the bad. That we've covered most of the characters, and that's a lot of the bad from the first show, for the first episode. The good from the first episode, I would say I truly enjoyed the gore. You want to talk about kills? I mean, some of them were pretty cliche kills that you've seen time and time again. Mm-hmm. But as far as practical effects are concerned on a television show, It seems like they've got some money for that. They definitely didn't spend their money on actors.
No.
Because you don't recognize a single person in the show, and none of them are good at acting.
Yeah. And that's why when we talked about when we started talking about last summer and the age discrepancy, 20-somethings playing teens, these are 30-somethings playing teens, and so it's ridiculous. And it seems like maybe they couldn't find someone younger that would want this role because they want to advance their career.
Yeah.
And these guys are like, I didn't make it. Oh, yeah. This is just gonna pay a bill.
Right. They're getting paid like $10,000 an episode.
Yeah, and they're giving that kind of a performance.
Yeah, not even like $100,000. They're getting like $10,000 an episode. So they're there for the paycheck.
Yes,
and it's super obvious. I always love it when a lawnmower and zombies come together. The standout scene in the first episode is definitely the scene where the young kid cuts through the cemetery on the lawnmower and just mows a ton of them down with some gratuitous blood. I think other than that, I don't think there was much to redeem this first episode. It doesn't feel like Romero.
There was comical moments like, it doesn't feel like Romero. Romero took it serious.
Yeah, and they're not.
More, especially in Night, pretty much in Dawn.
Yeah.
And then Day was kind of like a weird thing, but
Day was weird. We all love Night and we all love Dawn. Everybody loves Night and Dawn.
So, as far as comedy, like for me, the Mortician, being worried that the zombie grandfather, my Peepaw, who she's embalming, is going up the stairs and she pulls his legs out and he falls. She climbs up.
She climbs over. Yeah,
it's hilarious.
And then the whole family's there.
They're watching her.
And they're watching her destroy the zombie version of their Peepaw.
I was watching.
And then what's he doing with my Peepaw? Like, this guy's not dead.
She just stomped his face in, and they're just watching it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "There's zombies at the thing," and the zombies. It's everyone. No one's. It's not a wrong word to say in a zombie movie.
Yeah.
They don't care. These people don't care. Like it's a zombie, so you just say it. But that's like a cardinal sin. You don't say zombie in a lot of zombie movies.
Right. Because you're supposed to treat these people like they don't know what zombies are.
Right.
But I mean, what universe
I
exists where kids haven't watched zombie movies?
Right.
You know, I'll tell you the first thing I'm going to say when I see a zombie is, "Holy fucking shit, it's a zombie!"
It's a fucking zombie.
It's a fucking zombie. Shoot it in the head.
Yeah.
Sever the spinal cord. All right.
There was no more room in hell.
So episode 4, big thumbs down. Day of the Dead episode 1, I would also give a big thumbs down. We're not going to talk about Chucky episode 2 because I'm a little behind. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, we're looking forward to talking about that.
So coming up, we'll be doing some Scream and some Wes Craven analysis as the new Scream movie drops, as well as more Chucky, or I Know What You Did Last Summer. Regrettably, more Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
If it gets worse, we're gonna stop. If it gets better, we'll let you know, and you can ride along with us.
Yeah. But great, Halloween was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Halloween Kills. If you haven't seen it, watch it. If you don't know about Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, you go for it. Rewatch 78. Watch it 2018. Watch Kills. Do a marathon. You can stream it right now. Really, really excited about Halloween Ends, and I think you should be too.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening.